We are set up for a big and important new start in January. We can't wait to get to that point. We encourage swift passage in the Senate now. They need to do their job as the House just did.
Averting a government shutdown, the provisions included in the spending bill passed by the U.S. House. And Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes is leaving for Seattle. What's next for the department after his departure? Plus, a record number of travelers are expected to take off for the holidays. When's the best time for drivers to hit the road? It's all ahead on News 3 Now at 10. Congress is on track to avert a government shutdown that would take effect tonight at 11 Central Time. House lawmakers pulled together enough votes to pass a plan that will fund the government for the next few months. Carissa Lawson is in New York with the latest.
The bill is passed.
After two failed efforts earlier this week, the Republican-controlled House passed a Friday evening vote on a revised plan to avert a government shutdown. The GOP spent the day working to win support from their own ranks.
We are excited about this outcome tonight. We're grateful that everyone stood together to do the right thing. And having gotten this done now as the last order of business for the year, we are set up for a big and important new start in January.
The bill funds the federal government at current levels through March and includes $100 billion in disaster aid. But it dropped President-elect Donald Trump's demand to lift the debt ceiling.
The reckless effort to remove the ability for the American people to have a real discussion in terms of fiscal responsibility by trying to jam a debt ceiling suspension into the legislation at the 11th hour was not sustainable.
In the end, many House Democrats signed on to support this revised plan, with the Democrat-controlled Senate voting next.
We will likely not have a government shutdown, which is good.
Earlier in the day, government workers were told to prepare for the worst.
Agencies did start notifying their employees of their potential furlough today at noon.
A shutdown could have meant trouble at the nation's airports over the holidays. While most TSA workers are considered essential, they would have been asked to show up without pay. Carissa Lawson, CBS News.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says Democrats are, quote, trying very hard to pass the stopgap spending bill tonight. Small chance of flurries over the coming days. The temperatures are also starting to drop. Blaze has more on the wintry weather ahead of the holidays. Blaze.
That's right. Temperatures are going to be cold not only tonight, but throughout your day on Saturday, all thanks to the fresh snow that fell not only Thursday, but into the morning hours on this Friday as well. Let's take a look at some of those totals coming in off towards Brooks, Baraboo, over that half a foot mark. Fall River, Blue Mounds, up to 7 inches of snow. Boscobel and Arena coming in at exactly a half a foot of snow. Localized higher amounts could be possible where you live, but many of us saw our first significant snowfall of not only December, but of winter. Again, we really haven't had a whole lot of snow up to this point, especially in the month of December. Don't necessarily focus on the sample totals there, because these are estimations, but you can see where those purples and those dark blues are. That's where lake effect snow actually contributed to those higher totals in parts of Jefferson County, or excuse me, Dodge County, as well as Washington County. If that path had taken just a slightly more southern approach, we might have actually seen more of those higher totals further towards the south. So the path of these systems really determines who sees the highest amount of snow. And as I mentioned, this is our first real big snow of the month so far. Before the snow began to fall yesterday, Madison, we hadn't even cracked a half an inch of snow for the month. And we usually pick up about a foot of snow. So we got a lot of ground to make up in the coming days. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you ask, we're really not going to see much in the way of snow. In fact, we're going to change that over to rain chances after we go past Christmas. So after a cold Saturday and we're back in the 30s on Sunday, we are going to track warmer temperatures and a quiet Christmas Eve and Christmas in the full forecast.
Blaze, thank you. A 12-year-old Belleville student is in police custody after allegedly making plans to harm school staff. The Belleville School District alerted police to the threat just before 3:30 Monday afternoon. One of the student's classmates had come forward and told the school staff about the threat. Police arrested the student and took them to juvenile court. They're facing charges of disorderly conduct and making terroristic threats. Police say there is no further threat to the school. Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes is headed to Seattle, Washington. The mayor of Seattle making that announcement earlier today. This all coming during a very challenging time for the city of Madison in the wake of this week's deadly school shooting. Chief Barnes addressed that in a video message saying his focus is still with Madison for now.
Our officers and community are now navigating the emotional aftermath of this tragedy. My immediate responsibility is to support my officers as we come to terms with this devastating event. I look forward to joining you in person next month to learn more about the Seattle Police Department and our commitment to safety and service.
Chief Barnes has led the Madison Police Department since 2021. His appointment in Seattle will still need to be confirmed by the Seattle City Council. As far as who will take over his position here in Madison, the city's Police and Fire Commission will choose his successor. It'll also choose who will step in as interim chief during the search process. We sat down exclusively with Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway in her first interview since Barnes' departure was officially announced. It has been a big week for her, first dealing with that shooting on Monday and now turnover at the top of the Madison police force. Mayor Rhodes Conway says Chief Barnes has delayed his leaving the Madison department until February to help with that transition.
He will obviously transition everything that needs to be transitioned during the month of January. We have an incredibly professional team at the Madison Police Department, and I have a lot of faith in their ability to provide continuity to the investigation and do whatever needs to be done.
You can see more from our interview with Mayor Rhodes Conway this Sunday at 10:30 on For the Record. You can also see the full interview online right now at channel3000.com under the For the Record tab. As Madison works to move forward after Monday's shooting, we also sat down with Mark Barden. His son Daniel was killed in the Sandy Hook shooting 12 years ago, and he co-founded a nonprofit, Sandy Hook Promise. The organization was created to help find meaningful ways to prevent similar tragedies. He offered this advice to those in Madison.
Because no family should ever have to endure this lifetime of pain due to something that is preventable, which was one of the key takeaways that we learned in that journey, was that this is not inevitable. And it's hard for me to say that, especially in light of a community that is just coming to terms with this devastation.
Sandy Hook Promise has resources to help know the signs of possible gun violence on its website, sandyhookpromise.org. The city also has resources available at cityofmadison.com/resources. Students in Madison are standing up against gun violence today. Hundreds at Madison West High School walked out of class to protest gun violence and support Abundant Life Christian School. After giving speeches in front of the school, the swarm of students walked over 2 miles to the state capitol, where they had a moment of silence for the victims at Abundant Life.
I have never lived in a world where there hasn't been a school shooting, where that hasn't been a threat. We live in a world where we're very desensitized to a lot of death and a lot of killing around us. And we wanted to, as a community, come together and speak out against this violence and this hatred.
Students also spoke at the Capitol about the need for unity and eliminating violence in our schools. In Jefferson County, state regulators are closely monitoring the cleanup of a major oil spill involving roughly 70,000 gallons from Enbridge's Line 6 pipeline. That spill was reported at a pump station in Oakland. It is the largest in Wisconsin now in over a decade. The leak was due to a degraded gasket at the pump station. Regulators report that nearby wetlands and private wells have not been contaminated. Enbridge has already paid nearly $1.1 million to clear about 60% of that spill. And cleanup efforts are underway after the first major snowfall of the year in Madison. Plows were on the roads as early as 7 in the morning yesterday. The Streets Division says it did 3 rounds of salting over the 782 miles of traffic lanes in the city, totaling more than 900 pounds of salt on the roads by the end of the day. Throughout the afternoon and evening, the Streets Division will be putting sand down now in residential areas.
Because we don't salt everything in the city of Madison, what that sand does in those residential areas gets traction, provides a little bit of traction, so we're going to be sanding those spots that need it. And also those people, when they're in those areas sanding, they're going to be looking for spots that needs to be pushed back to the curb. Maybe that initial plowing stuff didn't get pushed back far enough for whatever reason.
Information on snowplow alerts, where to park your car, and when to get your sidewalk cleared can be found on the City of Madison's website under the Winter tab. Wisconsinites are expected to travel in record numbers to close out the year. From Saturday through January 1st, AAA is predicting 2.39 million people will travel 50 miles or more from home. That's 76,000 more travelers than the previous record set last year. AAA says if you are heading to any major city, leave early.
If you're heading through any major metropolitan areas or places where multiple interstates kind of converge, you're going to see a lot more congestion. You're also going to see less road construction. Typically, DOT will be suspending road construction, and we're well outside of the typical road construction season anyway. But you do want to head out early. The earlier you can go on any given day is going to be better.
AAA says if you plan on drinking over the holidays, it'll be activating its free Tow to Go program. starting Christmas Eve all the way through New Year's Day to prevent drunk driving accidents. As last-minute holiday shopping is underway, you may want to check your shipping deadlines. Tomorrow is the U.S. Postal Service deadline to get your gifts to their destinations by December 25th, and that is for Priority Mail Express. So your package can be delivered the next day or within 2 days. The Madison Postmaster also has some tips to make sending a package an easy process.
I do suggest you visit USPS.com because it will really walk you through what you need in order to make sure that you're prepared when you get into the lobby of one of the post offices to help that transaction go a little bit smoother.
You can also check your package's location at USPS.com. When we come back, Blaze tells us about our chances of snow in the coming days, and Amazon workers walk the picket lines. Could the strike impact holiday shipping? That's next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Welcome back. Amazon has reached a settlement with regulators to resolve federal safety accusations. OSHA had flagged safety violations at 10 warehouses in multiple states. The agency said Amazon employees were at a high risk for joint and soft tissue injuries. Under the agreement, OSHA will withdraw citations at 9 of the 10 warehouses. Amazon will pay $145,000 in fines at the 10th warehouse, which handles bulky items like TVs and furniture in Illinois. Amazon workers hitting the picket lines for the second day in a row, demanding better pay and safer working conditions. The International Brotherhood of Teamsters Union organized the strike at hubs in several major cities less than a week before Christmas to pressure Amazon to negotiate a contract. Amazon says the workers are not direct employees of the company and only represent a small fraction of its workforce.
I just want it where I can feel a little bit comfortable, breathe a little easier. They've made $30 billion last year, $30 billion with a B, so we think they can afford to give us benefits, give us a living wage.
Amazon says it doesn't expect the strike to impact holiday shipments. Meanwhile, Starbucks workers are also expected to walk off the job at some stores in Los Angeles, Chicago, and also Seattle, with their union citing lack of progress in contract negotiations. Well, if you ask someone what their New Year's resolution is, you used to hear the one universal theme of weight loss. But a new goal is taking the top spot. Psychologists at the Cleveland Clinic say since the pandemic, they are seeing that more patients are prioritizing their mental health with their resolutions. With the abundance of people looking for help, many providers shifted to offering virtual visits and otherwise expanding access. If you are looking to prioritize your mental health in 2025, there are some adjacent goals that can help you achieve it.
This includes stress reduction, relaxation, making sure that they reduce their amount of time on social media. All of these goals help to boost your mental health throughout the year.
Doctors say other habits that have a positive effect on mental health include getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, more exercise, and eating healthier. The Vince Lombardi Cancer Foundation is awarding over $300,000 in grants to 8 healthcare organizations as part of its 2024 grant cycle. Recipients include the Medical College of Wisconsin and Aurora Healthcare. These funds aim to advance cancer research, treatment, and survivorship nationwide. Doctors with the Medical College of Wisconsin say this donation will help them achieve better outcomes.
Pancreas cancer is a very tough disease with still kind of poor outcomes. But right now, the 5-year survival rate is doubled what it was 10 years ago. And I think that tells us that we are making big strides and we're able to identify people that may benefit from certain therapies over others.
If you'd like to donate to the foundation, visit lombardifoundation.org. And between now and the new year, the group is promoting a $50,000 donation match from an anonymous donor. The holidays are filled with all things magic and wonder, from the twinkling lights to Jolly St. Nick, pulled by his reindeer across the world in a single night. Lee Waldman has more on how the holiday spirit can positively impact children and families.
Powered by 9 tiny reindeer, Santa Claus and his sleigh travel all across the world in just one night. Before all of the boys and girls drift off to dream of sugar plums on Christmas Eve, they follow St. Nick with the help of the NORAD Santa Tracker.
So we use 3 primary sensors, is what we call it, to track Santa. We use our radars, our satellites, and our fighter aircraft from the United States and Canada.
Rudolph, with his nose so bright, helps John Ingle, or Jingle as they call him at the North American Aerospace Defense Command, with the tracking because it gives off the same heat signature as a missile. The Santa Tracker is as beloved a tradition for them as it is for us.
It's also a way for us to use our technology to connect kids with where Santa's at on that very special day.
Traditions during the holidays are vital for families and children and their development, experts say.
This magic that comes with Christmas or the holiday season does create this love and playfulness and imagination for children. But I also think that it's important in helping children develop empathy.
Child development specialist Elena Miranda says imagination helps kids throughout their lives to keep believing and having faith even when going through tough times.
We can have this experience with Santa Claus, with the holidays, where we're believing in something so magical, something beyond what we can see, feel, hear, and touch. Then it allows us to implement this faith and this belief into other areas of our lives.
In New York, I'm Lee Waldman reporting.
Temperatures will drop overnight in our area. Blaze joins us now with a chilly weekend ahead and our chances for White Christmas. Santa needs snow on those rooftops, Blaze.
We will see. We'll talk about kind of what lies ahead for us. But the good news is it doesn't look like there's going to be anything in the Midwest that would otherwise stop Santa from delivering those presents. We are anticipating quiet conditions both Christmas Eve and Christmas. After a cold night and Saturday, some mixed chances return on our Monday and then to end Christmas. And then after Christmas, we really start to see our temperatures climb and we actually reintroduce rain chances. So we'll take a look, other than Monday, if there's any snow chances between now and Christmas to really solidify that White Christmas chance. But as I mentioned, it is going to be a cold night, single digits to low teens. Wind chill values maybe just slightly below 0 to about 5 degrees. As we head overnight, the fresh snow along with light northerly winds That's the reason why it's going to be not only cold this evening and overnight, but into your Saturday as well. The fresher the snow, the higher the reflectivity. And even though we'll see partly sunny to mostly cloudy conditions, we still get a little bit of that sunshine to peek on through. But that snow is going to reflect a lot of that heat back into the atmosphere. A few flurries may be possible on Saturday and Sunday. And then we start to see another little system move out of the Dakotas. This is going to be staying a little bit too far north to really get any measurable snow here across central Wisconsin, or southern and central Wisconsin. But further to the north, they may be, again, solidifying their chances for a white Christmas. If this low were to take maybe a slightly further south path, that might increase our chances for snow. So stay with News 3 Now. We'll keep you updated. But at least for now, it's looking to stay a little bit too far north for us to really get any measurable snow. As I mentioned, quiet both Christmas Eve and Christmas as temperatures hang out in the low to mid 30s. Looking at rain chances to begin as we go into the evening hours. Christmas after staying cloudy both Christmas Eve and Christmas as we open up the Gulf. The polar jet is going to be pushed essentially to about Hudson Bay, and that's going to allow not only warmer air but more moist air to move northwards. Watch as our temperatures go into the 40s by Friday and then further into those mid 40s maybe by Saturday and Sunday of the weekend after Christmas. If we can get rid of the snow on the ground quickly, we may be able to squeeze out a few upper 40s. I think low 50s are going to be hard, but this model wants to bring in that heat back into the Midwest as we go into the weekend following Christmas. So we are anticipating warmer than average temperatures, not only during the daytime, but especially overnight in these last few days of December. With that bullseye there, that dark red, of about a 90 to 100% chance of sitting underneath warmer than average temperatures the 26th through the 30th. Now, while that bullseye shrinks a little bit, we're still about an 80 to 90% chance of sitting underneath warmer than average temperatures through the start of the new year. And you can see that we anticipate those warmer than average temperatures to begin as early as Sunday. And really, once we melt that snow, that's when those temperatures are really allowed to get to about 10 to 15 degrees above normal. So we're hanging out in the teens and 20s tomorrow. There is a look at your 7 and 10 day forecast. Keep in mind into the second half of next week, our overnight lows should be right around 18 degrees. And we're going to be in the 30s for overnight lows starting Christmas night with 40s for highs starting on Thursday.
And coming up in sports, it's on to 10 and 2. How Wisconsin women stayed perfect at home and closed out their non-conference slate on a high note. That's next on News 3 Now. The week-long break between games is almost over for the Badger men's basketball team. Wisconsin hosts Detroit Mercy on Sunday to close out the non-conference portion of their schedule, and they've taken care of business in that part. 9 wins out of the 10 non-conference games they've played. And to close that season out on a high note is really important because up next is a stretch of 18 straight games in the Big Ten.
We got to make a statement on Sunday for sure heading into a Big Ten play because we know how deep the Big Ten is, how talented it is from top to bottom. So just getting in there on the right foot. We go home for Christmas, so just doing what we need to do over that time.
It's incredibly important. Every time we take the court, we obviously want to win, but as we head into conference play season, it's going to be about little details and getting better, and every game is an opportunity to get better.
It was breakfast and basketball at the Kohl Center this morning. Wisconsin women hosting UAlbany. First quarter, the ball finds Natalie Leitzinger, and she finds the bottom of the net from distance to tie this one up at 14. And then the Badgers went on a run with their bread and butter. First, it's Carter McCray getting inside and banking it home for 2 of her 15 points. She also grabbed 14 rebounds. And speaking of double-doubles, well, Sarah Williams was doing her thing. The offensive board and the putback, 28 and 12 for her. Wisconsin's 10 and 2 for the first time in 15 years. They win by 10 points. High school boys hoops, big showdown in the Trailways West. Fall River hosting Randolph. Rockets got off to a good start thanks to their big man, Nick Medema. He had a game-high 15. Randolph led by a point at the break. And Fall River, though, would battle back in the second half. The Pirates work the ball into Ethan LeClaire, and he drops it home for 2. LeClaire and Alex Diaz combined for 28, but it wouldn't be enough as Randolph wins it 52-51 in what was a wild finish. Well, it's official. Sarah Franklin is staying in Madison for another year, but it's not exactly what you think it is. Yes, she'll be playing volleyball, just not with the Badgers in the Fieldhouse. The back-to-back Big Ten Player of the Year is turning pro and will play with Love Madison. Franklin joins Lauren Carlini and Temi Thomas-Ilara as former Badgers on the roster. We'll be right back.
Tonight, Colbert's got Dua Lipa and Puppies.
This is Laura. Laura types 100 words per minute.
Plus John Baptiste, CBS Tonight.
And Blaze is back. One final check of the forecast.
Yes, and we are set to sit underneath some quiet conditions for the most part. Maybe a few flurries on your Saturday. Partly sunny to mostly cloudy, more cloud cover by the afternoon. We are looking at a very similar Sunday, but breezier and warmer into the 30s will go. Staying quiet with mixed chances on Monday, and then to end your Christmas, then we're back into the 40s with rain chances starting Thursday.
All right, Blaze, thanks. And thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10, folks. Have a great weekend.